Hey guys, welcome back to the Hillside Garden. It's been a little bit. I've been very busy, doing a lot of planting, a lot of stuff going on at work, so I haven't got a video out in about 2 weeks or so. But this video is going to be about the herbs I'm growing and some winter sowing experiments that I'm doing. But right now, I just want to show you this. If you've never grown hyacinth bulbs, there's a purple one here, and there's a pink one just in the background with these little miniature daffodils. I mean, this is what it is when it comes to thinking about spring. And springtime for me is just the absolute heavenly scent of hyacinths. I absolutely love the smell. It's my favorite scent of any bulb, any flower. Can't get enough of it. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that, make you a little bit jealous, because if you could smell this right here, and hopefully you have some hyacinths growing in your yard, because I hate to be the only person that has this experience right now. But yeah, totally grow some hyacinth bulbs, if not just for the beautiful color. I mean, look at that. See that different like shades of purple on there, and just the smell, guys. Goodness gracious, that smell is just heavenly. All right, so enough talking about flower bulbs, which I could go on and on about. But the purpose, like I said, we're talking about some herbs and going right now, and some winter sowing that I am trying out this year, a little something different. So let me show you that, and I'll get right back. Alright guys, so welcome to the front porch here, and yes, this is outside. It hasn't been frosting lately, and I went ahead and transplanted all these different chives. Now these I believe are the garlic chives, and it turned into I think 48 different cells of chives. I mean, if you grow chives, they'll grow into the giant clump. Alright, and I should have made a video, but I was kind of hurried, just kind of in a hurry, kind of got in the zone, didn't make a video, because I mean, I could probably show you how, if anyone's really interested in how to divide a clump of chives. I didn't think that would be highly entertaining. But anyways, in each of these cells, there's probably 2 to 3 different individual chive, I guess, bulbs, maybe, that you would consider them, or plants. I don't know. But I mean, just going down the row, I mean, that's 48 cells, and times 3 to 4, maybe some of them have, like this guy here, it's like a couple little guys in there. I mean, that's hundreds, well over 100. Chives right there, and this has been on the front porch. The cold doesn't bother them. They responded from transplant just fine. I will say that when I did transplant them, the roots on them were very long. I cut the roots off, probably an inch long. I know everyone's probably going to say, you got to hold your breath and just do it, but they'll respond. And if you try to transplant the chive with the long spindly roots where they've been growing in the ground and whatnot, A, they're not going to transplant well into these little tiny cells, but B, I think when you cut them back like that, it actually stimulates new growth. And these guys were sad for maybe half a day, and they've perked back up, and they're doing awesome, putting on new growth even at that. So that being said, this guy here, you see my truck in the background, but check it out. So this is lavender. And this was kind of growing it back on the hillside. I grew it from a cutting from another lavender plant that I tried to move and it didn't really survive. So I took some cuttings as a Hail Mary. This one did survive, and I planted it last year. It survived the winter. But as you can see, it's kind of off to the side because a deer stepped on it and like bent it all aside. So it's kind of growing like that. Which, I mean, it's in the pot. I'm trying to rescue it, trying to get it back to good. And I may keep it in a larger container. Maybe not. But as of right now, I mean, new growth wise, it's just starting to put on a little bit of kind of perking up a little bit, because these leaves are like a really dark gray, kind of lifeless gray color, but they're slowly turning a little bit green right there. So yeah, lavender is another plant you can grow outdoors. It's not going to be hampered by the cold per se. So now looking at here, if you saw my other videos where I took the rosemary cuttings and that started blooming for some reason and they started growing, well, these are the rosemary cuttings, and they've only been outside for a couple of days, but ever since I put them outside, man, these guys have been just springing up. And if you look down here, I mean, you have new growth popping up on them. They're doing great. So these were taken from cuttings probably back in December, and I put them in the water and they started growing, started blooming. It was insane. But yeah, so eventually I'm gonna have to divide these up, as they're probably too big. Should have done it already, but you know how things are in the spring. There's so many things going on. So that may be a project for this weekend coming up, dividing these rosemary into individual containers, as I have about 100 of them. So that's not really a big deal. So the only thing I'm limited by is space, because I don't know, I have way too many plants, but that's a good problem to have. So I'm going to take you to the back and show you a little winter sowing project I have going on with my herbs and just some other updates on what's going on back there. So let me take you back there and I'll be right back. All right, guys, so back here in the backyard, this is something new if you followed along. This is kind of a makeshift raised bed. I kind of had to put these, PVC pipes to hold it, make it stable, because it's just this like flimsy material I got. But yeah, so this right here, showing you a bunch of straw mulch. But anyways, this is full of asparagus. And last fall, I grew some asparagus and from seed. And for the idea of in the springtime having little transplants to put out here into this bed. Well, not this bed in particular, but putting them out. Okay. So anyways, I divided it up, and to my surprise, there were 20 asparagus seeds that had germinated, sprouted, grown little crowns, all survived the winter. Some had even started breaking dormancy and poking up, so I knew it was time to plant them out. But as you see, this is not big enough for 20 asparagus plants, but my goal here is to plant them out, and what's going to happen is they're going to grow. They're going to put on a couple shoots, a couple spears. They're going to fern out and let them grow all summer long. Keep them well watered. The soil is full of aged horse manure, some old potting soil, topsoil, and of course with my straw on top there, keeping it insulated and helping the moisture retain, etc., etc. But as I was saying, in the fall, I'm going to find a permanent bed for these. So I have all summer to dig up some new plot, fertilize it, add the compost, manures, etc., turn it over, do what I need to do. So in the fall, I can plant these guys into their absolute final spot with proper planting, proper everything else. But this may just be a transitional bed. But with the PVC pipe on it like this, the idea was I could put the deer netting around it and make a little makeshift tent like I did at the Hillside Pepper Patch, like I've done with this raised bed right here that you may or may not see the deer netting on top of the PVC hoops right there. And there's the improvised low tunnel hoop house going on, which I'm going to show you here in just a second. But anyhow, yes, if I put the deer netting around this, they won't mess with the spears as they're trying to establish. And then once they fern out, I don't believe the deer really mess with the ferned out asparagus plants. They're more apt to just go after the young shoots, as they do with most other plants for that matter. But yeah, so let me go ahead and show you the last thing here inside the improvised hoop house cold frame tunnel here. So I have showed you a couple updates of this already, and I still have some lettuce growing. There's some collard greens. There's some giant spinach plant down here. Down back in there is a collard green that I think is pretty much dead. Some arugula that's growing. But that's not why we are here. Okay, so in this tray back here, these are just marigold seeds, just as an experiment. It's way too early. It's still frosting out, although it hasn't. It's not supposed to for the next week, but it is middle of March. We have 6 weeks till the last frost date. So this is an experiment to see how long I can extend the season. How much of an early jump I can get. But right here, check it out. Sage, parsley, and thyme. 2 rows of thyme, 2 rows of parsley, 1 of sage. They were planted, just a couple days ago, so obviously not growing, but, that's my idea, to see if I can get these to winter sow, get tons of transplants to grow out into the springtime, get a jump start, see how they do, and, they're going to sprout whenever they're ready to it. So a lot of times people, when you plant seeds, you want that instant gratification, like the seed pack says, hey, this sprouts in 5 to 7 days. Well, day 8, you're disappointed and you're sad and you probably give up. With the winter sowing method, the seeds are going to grow when they're going to grow. Whether you've ever grown plants or not, there's always volunteer plants, plants that self-sow, plants that self-seed, etc. They're going to pop up when they pop up. Tomatoes are a perfect example. When the soil warms up enough, you're going to have 1 million tomato seeds popping up in your compost or anywhere else you might have dropped a tomato in the garden or something like that. Plants know when it's time to grow, but because of where you live, maybe you need to start early to get a longer season, or maybe you just want that earlier crop. But anyways, I'm in no big hurry. Eventually I do want to use this space right here inside the little tunnel here. But for right now, this is absolutely doing this job perfectly. Right here, planted sage as well. And I don't know if this is a sage plant popping up right there, if that's just a weed, but I just noticed that. So that may be the first of the sage that have sprouted. So that's kind of cool here. But yeah, so last thing I want to show you, this right here, this is lavender. Right, true lavender, English lavender, Lavandula augustifolia, I think it's called. So boom. And as I grew all these little lavender from one packet of little seeds, And as I transplanted them out, I had exactly the amount that filled up one per cell, which was completely unplanned. So that's kind of, that was pretty cool that I had one per little cell here. And that is, I think 50, if I can count correctly. Yeah, 5 by 10, so 50 lavender plants for one packet of seed that costs 25 cents at the dollar store. So there you go, guys. It doesn't have to be very expensive to grow plants. It doesn't have to be expensive to start your own things. Improvise, you don't need a big fancy greenhouse like I had, which ended up being a total waste of money. This little low tunnel here has been awesome. It has done its job. And on that note, another fellow YouTuber, Catherine from My Hillside Garden, I think she's doing this as well. She's had a couple videos out there starting some seeds and stuff like that. So do go check her out. She has some pretty cool stuff out there as well. Basically the same system that I'm doing out here. So there you go, guys. That's a middle of March herb update, little winter sowing update. And of course, I'll bring you back and show you more when these guys start growing. And there you go. So happy growing, guys. We'll see you next time here at the Hillside. Bye-bye.